Now go across to France 24's Dave Keating standing by in Brussels. Dave, good afternoon to you. Volodymyr Zelensky has dual agendas in Brussels today, doesn't he? Because on one hand, he wants more weapons, he wants fighter jets, but also he wants to reiterate the message that Ukraine should become part of the EU, a message he put across to MEPs earlier.
Indeed, and he may be picking which institution he wants to stress each message to, because we saw there at the European Parliament, he was really hitting that theme of European unity, the European family very hard. He said Ukraine is strong, Ukraine is winning, the EU is winning. And interestingly, he used this phrase, the European way of life. He said that Russia is attacking the European way of life, and therefore saying this war isn't just about territory, this war is about European values. That is all something that will have gone over quite well with members of the European Parliament. What he didn't stress very much was his request for military aid. He mentioned it, but it was nowhere near the centerpiece of his speech like it was when he spoke to the British Parliament and when he spoke to the US Congress. And that is likely because requests for military aid really wouldn't have anything to do with the European Parliament. The military equipment isn't coming from the EU, it's coming from member states. So Zelensky just arrived here at the European Council. That is the body that represents the 27 national governments. The 27 prime ministers and presidents are here for a meeting. He posed for a family photo with them just a little while ago in this spot behind me. That will have been very symbolically important, again, for his European aspirations to be seen there next to all the other EU leaders, and he is now discussing with them what he has come here to request. And it is likely, I suspect, particularly behind closed doors, that he is here at the Council really pressing that point about needing military equipment.
Stay with us, Dave, because as you were talking, we have a soundbite of the French President Emmanuel Macron, who actually said the issue of fighter jets was not brought up when Volodymyr Zelensky was in Paris last night at the Élysée Palace, as well as the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Take a listen.
My message first was full support from day one to the very last minute. My second message was to reiterate the fact that Russia cannot and will not win this war. And my third objective was to have a strategic discussion with him and Chancellor Scholz in order to precisely assess the objectives on the ground, the requirements and the needs from an operational and military point of view, and the strategy to negotiate future peace.
Dave Keating standing by. Dave, there you saw the French president picking his words very carefully when it came to what France is willing to offer Ukraine. However, earlier we had Roberta Metsola, EU parliamentary president, who spoke didn't really mincing her words, said Ukraine needs fighter jets.
Indeed, and of course that's an easy thing for the Parliament to say because, as I said, the European Parliament doesn't have anything to do with providing fighter jets. That's national militaries, and that's where Macron has to be careful and, of course, has to be consulting the French military leaders. I think what he was saying there in that soundbite is really what a lot of leaders here are looking for. They want specifics. They want to know, okay, this military equipment you're asking for, the long-range missiles, the jets, what exactly do you need them for? What would they be used for? They want a detailed plan. They don't want these kind of vague, just getting military equipment for military equipment's sake. And they also want to hear why this particular military equipment, why these F-16 fighter jets are specifically what he needs. So they'll be looking for those kinds of specifics, and I guess we'll hear afterwards whether people felt like they were reassured. Maybe we'll see if the needle moved for any of these leaders with their reticence to provide particularly those air weapons.
Even though Washington has ruled that out for now. Thank you very much for that, Dave. Dave Keating reporting there for us from Brussels.